Now to one of our most influential drama critics, Sir Harold Hobson, who died on Friday. He wrote for the Sunday Times between 1947 and 1976 and became not just a reviewer, but an arbiter of artistic taste and a champion of new talent in a period when modern drama underwent a revolution in form and content. Harold Hobson's writing effectively changed the course of modern theatre. Michael Billington, drama critic of The Guardian, looks back in respect.
These new playwrights have taken some time to develop. I mean, the new playwrights do come out of the social conditions created at the end of the war. Britain has entirely changed its character since 1945. It takes a certain amount of time for new dramatists to emerge who can put into plays the emotions and feelings of that period.
When Harold Hobson first came to prominence as a reviewer in the 1950s, the Sabbath duopoly of the Sunday Times and the Observer gave their critics on theatre, film and books enormous influence. So much so that Hobson and his great Observer rival, Kenneth Tynan, were figures of almost papal authority. In the modern plurality, when there's a plethora of newsprint and an abundance of arts programmes, that power is now dissipated. But Hobson and Tynan used their enormous clout to campaign for the difficult and controversial work that other critics were deriding. Hobson especially championed the plays of Samuel Beckett, John Osbourne and Harold Pinter long before they were fashionable. Hobson's passions as a critic were intense. What was astonishing, at a time of cultural conservatism, when Noel Coward and Terence Rattigan were the West End gods, was his ability to see that the rules of drama exist only to be broken, that the conventional, well-made play had in fact become something of a cul-de-sac. The first big test came in 1955, when Beckett's Waiting for Godot had its London premiere, directed by Peter Hall. The daily critics were bothered and bewildered, without being bewitched.
This play comes to us with a great reputation among the intelligentsia of Paris. And so far as I am concerned, the intelligentsia of Paris may have it back as soon as they wish.
Obscurity for obscurity's sake.
If Godot did come, nobody would know who he was, and all would promptly forget that he had been. That's the kind of play it is.
But Hobson, like Tynan, instantly saw that this was a momentous, groundbreaking play, that Beckett had changed the dramatic landscape overnight.
Go and see Waiting for Godot. At the worst, you will discover a curiosity, a four-leafed clover, a black tulip. At the best, something that will securely lodge in a corner of your mind for as long as you live.
The first production of Godot was the harbinger of a momentous upheaval in British theatre. Out went conventional well-made plays and the code of gentlemanly restraint. In their place came new writers who redefined the dramatic map.
Things have changed here since yesterday.
And if he doesn't come?
Well, we'll see when the time comes. We're saying things have changed here since yesterday.
Everything oozes.
Look at the tree.
It's never the same pass from one second to the next.
The tree. Look at the tree.
Was it not there yesterday?
Well, of course it was there yesterday. Do you not remember?
What I find fascinating is that Hobson, who privately loved grace and good living, and who believed strongly in Christian values, responded so warmly to these assaults on old certainties and the hallowed French window conventions of British theatre. Another big test came in 1956, when John Osbourne's Look Back in Anger provoked a positive avalanche of hostility.
This is the most putrid bosh, and I am dismayed to learn that John Osbourne sincerely believes his insufferable hero to be representative of the younger generation.
It achieves only the stature of a self-pitying snivel.
I look back in anger upon a night misconceived and misspent.
But Hobson saw that Jimmy Porter's tirades concealed an inextinguishable pain.
Though the blinkers still obscure his vision, he is a writer of outstanding promise, and the English stage company is to be congratulated on having discovered him.
The play was eventually acknowledged as a landmark of British theatre, and Richard Burton later brought the angry young Jimmy Porter to the screen.
You impertinent little phony. Messing in people's lives and you don't know what any of it's about. For your own sake, don't ever do that again. I've no public school scruples about hitting girls. If you slap my face, by God, I lay you out.
You would, you're the type.
You bet I'm the type. I'm the type that detests physical violence.
2 years after Osbourne's debut, another actor-turned-playwright had his first London showing, Harold Pinter with The Birthday Party. The result was a critical and box-office disaster.
What all this means, only Mr. Pinter knows, for his characters speak in non-sequiturs, half-gibberish and lunatic ravings.
Although the author must have explained his play to the cast, he gives no clue to the audience.
If the author can forget Beckett, Ionesco and Simpson, he may do better next time.
But on the Sunday, Hobson came out with a famous notice that revealed that he had grasped a sense of terror lurking beneath the low-life surface.
I am willing to risk whatever reputation I have as a judge of plays by saying that Mr. Pinter possesses the most original, disturbing and arresting talent in theatrical London.
Largely on the strength of this review, the BBC commissioned a play from Pinter, who had been on the verge of giving up writing at the time. Pinter's writing career was saved.
Is that you, Stan? Stanley?
Yes?
Is that you?
It's me.
Oh, it's you. I've run out of cornflakes.
Well, what else have you got?
Nothing.
Nothing.
There are, I think, great lessons to be learnt from Hobson's career. That criticism, at its best, is a constructive activity. That the critic is a midwife rather than an abortionist. And that the great critic is the one who is prepared to throw aside the rule book and be guided by his or her feelings and instincts. There's a famous story told about Harold Hobson. He once met the much-admired and openly homosexual dramatist Jean Genet in Paris. "Vous êtes pédéraste?" Genet rather saucily inquired.
Melody has dominated British independent rock for the past 7 years. With their debut album, 1985's Psycho Candy, they reintroduced feedback and a brooding sense of danger to an apathetic music scene. These days, the brothers Jim and William Reid are regarded as the godfathers of a style which lays whispered vocals and distorted guitars over rhythms which make an occasional nod to the dance underground. Next week, the Jesus and Mary Chain release their 4th LP, Honey's Dead, and embark on a major tour. But now they're in...
There was controversy over her frequent holidays.